Hey guys, I'm back with another video and I have a massive candle haul. I was trying to stay away and taking a break for a little bit from buying so much, but there's just like so many like new, intriguing, exciting fragrances coming out that I was just like, you know what, let me just get back in for a little bit. I have been emptying a lot of candles on the plus side though, so at least that was the good thing, but it's just kind of like I erased all that progress by all these candles that I just bought. But there's all these like unique like bacon and Thanksgiving dinner candles coming out and I have them, so I was like, let me haul them and talk about them. These were acquired at a regular store, not a test store, so these are coming for whatever the next floor set is. And I believe like these ones are rumored to be like the special Try to Believe It like $12.95 candle sale date is supposed to come up sometime in the beginning of September. I don't remember what the exact dates were, but it was sometimes in like the first week or two in September. There's supposed to be a Try to Believe It $12.95 candle sale day, and I believe these are like the hype candles made for that event, so stores are starting to get them in. So I got my hands on all 5 of them, and then I also have some of the other like new candles that are coming out that we've seen already been testing in the test regions, like the hometown collection and all those. So without further ado, let me get into it. So the first candle we have, believe it or not, is called Candied Maple Bacon. I was like, oh my god, get out. So these have just a flat lid on it. It's just a like rectangular label with white wax. These are $24.50. This one says crispy bacon, maple brown sugar, and smoked applewood. On the design, it has like a checkbox for new and vault on there, if you can see. And they're all checked as new, because I guess all 5 fragrances are new. So there was some speculation whether or not there would be vault candles coming in, so like the other checkbox for if it's a vault candle rather than something that's new. But there has been no evidence from any of the sources that I've seen or any like shipment coming in of any of the vault candles. So I think this might just be like just a mere design decision, and not an actual like suggesting that there's vault candles come in. Like maybe we're just like reading into it too much. I don't know. But there's no evidence as of now that there are any vault candles coming out, or they're not showing up in shipment either. So it might just be just a like quick design decision where they're just like, okay, we need to put a checkbox on here and they're all new, but we need to have a checkbox for another option, so let's just put vault on it and call it a day. But in any case, yes. So Candied Maple Bacon. This one, oh my god, it's crazy. It literally smells just like bacon. Oh my god. Like, this is definitely a novelty candle, like something that you would buy for like collection purposes, not because you actually maybe want your house smelling like bacon all the time. But this is like balls to the wall, straight up bacon, like you've put it in the microwave. It's salty, it's greasy, and it comes out. It kind of smells like a what is it, like the bacon strips, like dog treats type of bacon feel to it. It's very much like that, where like the bacon strips almost has like a slightly like an artificial bacony feel to it. This has that type of quality to it, but you get that bacon smell first and foremost. It's salty. It's a little greasy, but not as greasy or salty and off-putting as the bacon fragrance from Yankee Candle that came out a while back. There was like a man collection. There's like a beer candle and a bacon one and like a mowed grass fragrance in that man collection from Yankee Candle. It's not as off-putting or disgusting as the bacon fragrance from Yankee Candle, but a similar type of like, this is a bacon candle, like it really smells like bacon. And then you get a little bit of a maple brown sugar fragrance. Think of like the maple and brown sugar you would get in like a maple brown sugar like beans, like the canned beans where there's like bacon bits in it, and there's also the maple brown sugar. It actually smells very much like the can of the maple brown sugar bacon beans that you would get, like baked beans in a can, and then you like nuke them in the microwave. It's very much that experience where you get that like, then you get the hint of the maple and the brown sugar to sweeten it up. It does say candied maple bacon, so you might think that it might be a little bit more candied or more sweet than this actually smells like, in the sense that you get that super sickeningly sweet like maple caramel fragrance that you usually get from BBW. I don't think it's that candied, but there is still a slight sweetness chilling in the background after the bacon that does give it that like sort of like hickory brown sugar maple vibe to it. But oh my god, this is just so crazy and awesome. Like, do I want my house smelling like bacon? No, not really, but it's just like from a fragrance enthusiast standpoint and from just uniqueness and just giving us something different and interesting, like I just have to commend them for it. That I'm just like, yeah, hell yeah, I will buy a Candied Maple Bacon fragrance, just so I can like put my vote in for like, yes, I'm interested in these unique crazy fragrances. So yeah, it's just like, you know, they release the same old like like, you know, cotton candy, blueberry, strawberry, champagne toast, this, that, or the other, in dozens. Like, we can get that anytime around. Like, so when they do release something like this, like, yes, I want to vote with my wallet and at least buy one. So that's candied maple bacon right there. The next one we have, continuing the train of weird fragrances, it is Thanksgiving Celebration, and that's what that looks like right there. And this one reads mashed potatoes, side of gravy, and sage stuffing. This also has the thick rope-like wicks with the white wax on there. Oh my god, this is crazy too. You get that gravy smell in here so much. You get that sage and gravy in here first and foremost. That sage has that herbal kitchen fragrance to it. Think of like Pizzeria from a while back. That type of savory herbal fragrance is most certainly in here. If you like Pizzeria, I think you would probably enjoy this one as well. So you do get that sage in there mixed with like a gravy, like greasy, oily gravy, like gooiness to it in there for sure. And then there's like a herb infused like stuffing fragrance in there as well that gives like a crispy breadiness. And then lastly, you get the mashed potatoes in here, and it really smells like, I guess, a Thanksgiving dinner. There was a Thanksgiving collection from it was called White Barn Thanksgiving that I smelled many times in store when it was out many years ago. I never picked it up, but that was a mashed potatoes and butter first fragrance that I do not believe it is a repackage of the old White Barn Thanksgiving fragrance. That literally smelled like instant mashed potatoes, like the powder or whatever, and you mix it around and you put it in the microwave. It's kind of, that was more that, where it was like a butter and mashed potatoes, slightly popcorny experience was in there because it was so buttery. This is more so heavy emphasis on that like sage stuffing and gravy first, and then the mashed potatoes comes afterwards. But this is, I don't know if I would ever really actually want to burn this. Like, I'll burn it for review purposes just because it's so unique and interesting. But do I ever want my house to actually smell like this? I don't think so. It's very much in the same realm as Pizzeria. If you love Pizzeria, you'll love this. If you hate a Pizzeria, I think you'll not enjoy this as well. So that was Thanksgiving Celebration right there. Maybe this is like their take at I think DW Home had that mac and cheese and the that whole collection of candles out previously. So this might be like BBW's answer to that like crazy uniqueness that DW Home was getting attention for. So there was that. Moving on to the more palatable and pleasant ones, we have salted caramel pretzel right here, and that's what that looks like. And this one says freshly baked soft pretzel, brown butter, caramel, and sea salt. This one also has the rope wicks with white wax. Yeah, this is very much your standard BBW salted caramel fragrance. If you remember salty caramel from days past or salted caramel, very much that same standard salted caramel fragrance is in there. Then, because it is a salted caramel, there's definitely a saltiness, so you could either attribute that to the salted caramel part or the pretzel having salt on it. So you get the saltiness afterwards, and then there's like a slightly bready pretzel component to it. We had a salted pretzel milkshake before. I love this fragrance. And this one was creamy vanilla ice cream, salty pretzel bits, gooey chocolate drizzle. It is not this. I actually think the pretzel is stronger and more prominent in this. I actually really grew to enjoy this the more I started burning it, and the pretzel really came out when you go to burn it. And I think this one has a little bit more of a smidge of like a chocolate fragrance in it. But I think this one's a little bit more like, wow, that's a pretzel. Whereas this one is more like, wow, this is salted caramel first, and then maybe implied pretzel fragrance. This is something I will have to... But when you smell this, it still smells like pretzel too, but it's like a different pretzel. Maybe this is like a hard, crispy pretzel, and this one's more like a soft pretzel. Yeah, I don't know. There's still a breadiness in there, so I don't know. I guess there are two different types of pretzels, but I think this one's just stronger on the salted caramel, and the pretzel comes afterwards. But like this one has the potential where if I burn it, like maybe the pretzel will come out. Very similar to this. Like this I wrote off initially when I got it. I was like, this is a salted caramel Summer Boardwalk repackage. But when I go to burn it, it was like awesome with all the pretzel fragrances. So this might come alive a little bit more when it's burning. But yeah, it smells like the name says. So that's salted caramel pretzel right there. We then have Sweater Weather plus Sweet Cinnamon Pumpkin. This is like a blends fragrance, and kind of interesting that they took the blends that we had from the SAS and then like applied it to a single fragrance in this collection. I wouldn't mind seeing more of them, but I guess maybe it was successful enough for them. They're like, let's throw them another blends with a fall one. So that's what that looks like right there. This one for some reason has a pumpkin lid on it. And this one is juniper berries, aromatic eucalyptus, warm cinnamon, and fresh ground clove. This one has the rope wicks on it as well. I freaking love this. So I always used to burn cinnamon bark, which is like the superior cinnamon fragrance, better than like cinnamon, was it stick? And there's cinnamon and clove buds and all the other like holiday and spice. And I love cinnamon bark. There's like a slight creaminess to it. But I used to burn cinnamon bark with sweater weather together all the time because what I loved about it was it kind of captured like fall both indoors and outdoors, where it was kind of like you were walking outside and you got the crisp, like brisk autumn air and like some of the sort of leafy pine needle, eucalyptusy, like foresty fragrance of sweater weather. And then when you walked in, you got like the cozy, like cinnamon broom, like cinnamon potpourri, like cozy warmth that you get when you enter the house. And so it was a nice contrast between like the outdoor like sweater weather mixed with the cinnamon bark, and I love burning the two together. It was a great combo, and also because cinnamon is still like a natural, I guess, item, that it still went with like the natural like sort of outdoorsy woodsy type of feel. So I really enjoyed the two together. And when you use the like pocket back, there is almost a slightly like cinnamony spiciness to it that I really enjoy, and so this really comes close to that, and so I enjoy that. You get, it's 50-50, that crisp, awesome, like sweater weather fragrance mixed with that same like clove, slightly like pumpkin pie filling, like craft store, cinnamon broomstick, sweet cinnamon pumpkin just injected in there as the other 50%, and it's just really the two together, and it's just like an awesome quintessential like fall fragrance of like two of BBW's like best like fall fragrances. So I'm really enjoying this one. When I first saw it, I was like, oh my god, I would love that, because I used to love doing cinnamon bark with sweater weather. So this is kind of like a nice mix of that. So that sweater weather and sweet cinnamon pumpkin right there, it's literally as the name implies. Like it smells exactly as you would imagine, and I'm not mad at it at all. And lastly, we have chocolate espresso martini from that collection, and that's what that looks like right there. This one is coffee liqueur, espresso, splash of vodka, and dark chocolate swirl. This one has Corwicks on it rather than the thick rope-like ones, if that even shows up. Yeah, this one, it's not quite as like juicy as I thought it would be. I don't know. I think every time I see like a coffee fragrance, like Paris Cafe from BBW is so immensely, like this is undeniably coffee. Roasty ass coffee beans, like truly like brewing in the background. Mixed with that like brioche note, just like even further like takes that saltiness out, and like the, I just like the brewing aromatic fragrance of the coffee beans gets really mixed in there. So I kind of always have that as like a threshold or standard for like what a coffee fragrance should smell like. And this, yeah, there's coffee in there, but it's not like Paris Cafe mixed with something else. So it's a little bit more diluted. But you get like a creamy chocolate in there. If you recall Mocha Latte Swirl, a similar chocolate creaminess to that, but I think this one has a little bit more depth than Mocha Latte Swirl does. Mocha Latte Swirl didn't have a whole lot of a prominent coffee or a like dark liqueur note in there, so that's how the two different sort of are differentiated. But a similar chocolate mocha latte type of fragrance in here. You get a creamy chocolate, and then you get a slight like burnt popcorny fragrance. So a lot of times like a coffee bean or a brewing fragrance often share similarities to like popcorn or like popcorn kernels, where it has like a slight like burnt quality to it. That is what I get with the coffee note here, and then maybe a hint of a warm booziness running underneath. But this is very much like a gourmand, awesome like gourmand drinky type of like chocolate drink fragrance. For sure. But I like that the chocolate isn't like the hot cocoa and cream, like dry powdery chocolate that's kind of overdone. It's not that. It's more like a creamy chocolate mixed with a implied like sort of burnt coffee note, and then a little bit of a, it's not overly boozy at all, but maybe there's like a little bit of a depth somewhere like lurking underneath. I think this is one I'll have to burn. It's a little like meh, or just like lukewarm on cold, where I was hoping for maybe a little bit more of like a liqueur or a coffee fragrance, just like amped up a little bit. Like if Homeworks did this, I feel like it'd be a little bit more like amped up, whereas this one's a little bit just kind of like muddied. But it's still a nice, pleasant fragrance nonetheless, and I think it's probably the most mass appeal out of all of them, that I think people will still really enjoy this one. I'm just very nitpicky, but from like a mass appeal, like just a pleasant gourmand fragrance standpoint, I think this one will be popular. So there was that. It is not, at least to my nose, the espresso bar fragrance that we've had before. It is not that similar to it, but I don't think it's exactly it. Yeah, similar, but it's not espresso bar. We also have like brown sugar latte. It isn't this at all either. This one doesn't have that chocolate note. This is a little bit more creamy and like that hazelnutness, and there's also like actually a perfumey note in this, believe it or not. And it's like totally different from coffee and whiskey as well, because this, when you smell it, this is like a perfumey slash unisex cologne perfumey body care fragrance. Like, first and foremost, like, this does not read at all to me as like a edible drink gourmand fragrance. Not at all. This is like way more musky and perfumey. This is like a full-blown like gourmand fragrance that you would find like in the winter time, and that's what chocolate espresso martini smells like right there. And yes, let's see, moving on. Oh, that was the other thing I want to talk about. People were wondering if this could potentially be chocolate bacon cupcake. Not at all. This is chocolate bacon cupcake. This like hardly has, like when you compare the two, this like almost has like zero bacon in it whatsoever. The bacon in this was always super negligible. There was just maybe like a slightly saltiness somewhere lurking in the background, but this was mostly just a full-blown like chocolate layer cake fragrance. I think if it didn't even say bacon on it, no one would ever pick up that there was actually bacon in there. I think this was totally a marketing hype thing. But when you smell this is undeniably bacon, and this smells like zero bacon in comparison. So these two are not at all the same, but I wanted to at least cover that. I think that's it for the hype collection. Let's move on to the world's best hometown collection, or whatever it was. I only picked up one, and that's the apple macchiato right here. This one has a super cute like plaid tartan lid on it. This is Washington spiced apples, hint of cinnamon, caramel drizzle, and froth milk. $26.50 on this one. This one has the thick rope-like wicks with white wax. This is very underwhelming. Quite disappointing. I like, to the point like, do I even need to keep this? This was the one I was the most excited for. This is so immensely similar to pumpkin apple. Like very, very, very similar to pumpkin apple, that it's just kind of like, how is this apple macchiato? Like when you think macchiato, you're gonna think like maybe traces of coffee in it, or something a little bit more milky or drink-like. This is the same like clove, nutmeg, cinnamon blend of pumpkin apple. It's just like a spicy apple fragrance with a little bit of creaminess to it. There might just be like a smidge of an extra sweet caramel fragrance in there that makes it a little bit creamier and sweeter than pumpkin apple, but it's so close to pumpkin apple that it's really disappointing, honestly. So that's what apple macchiato smells like. And pumpkin apple is so immensely close to apple crumble. Like, I burned the two like in different rooms at the same time, and I'm just like, pumpkin apple and apple crumble are so immensely similar. Like, pumpkin apple came out the year after apple crumble got discontinued, that I do wonder if they just literally just took apple crumble and repackaged it as pumpkin apple. The two are very, very similar. There might be a slight difference to it, but if you miss out on apple crumble, like pumpkin apple is so immensely similar. If you even like reference Little Balladier's original pumpkin apple review, she's like, this is a smack in the face repackage of apple crumble. I was like, oh my gosh, it's totally. So yeah, maybe this one's a little bit butterier and bakery, but it's like 90% the same fragrance. But yeah, so I don't know. If you missed out on apple crumble, or if you just want a different variation of pumpkin apple, then check out apple macchiato. But otherwise, kind of boring and very underwhelming. I think Thanksgiving would have been the far superior like apple macchiato fragrance. This was excellent. It was a one-hit wonder. I wrote it off as caramel apple at the beginning, but when you go to burn it, it's awesome. This one has juicy red apple, gooey caramel, and praline pieces. This one has a similar like caramel cider fragrance that Cider Lane has, but it's not Cider Lane either, because it doesn't have that heavy brown sugar component that Cider Lane has. But this one has a creamy like apple caramel drink fragrance with like a gooey creaminess to it, that I think if you're to try to pass off something as being a apple macchiato or creamy apple drink fragrance, like Thanksgiving would have been way better. Super strong and awesome. They're just like a juicy, like quenching, creamy, like drink fragrance, just kind of like lying through Thanksgiving. But I think this would have been far superior repackaged than whatever apple macchiato is serving. So that was that for that collection. I smelled blueberry cotton candy in store. It was very redundant. It's not blueberry sugar, but very similar to it. It's like they took cotton candy champagne, which was a mix of champagne toast and strawberry pound cake, took out the strawberry pound cake portion and inserted blueberry sugar instead, and then mixed that with champagne toast and got like cotton candy champagne, but blueberry cotton candy instead. So replace the strawberry and cotton candy champagne, add in blueberry, and that's literally what blueberry cotton candy smell like. Very redundant. I already own blueberry sugar. I already own cotton candy champagne, so I didn't feel like I needed to get blueberry cotton candy. I think it will still be like a mass appeal type of fragrance. If you like blueberry sugar and want something a little bit more sweetsy, cutesy, cotton candy-ish in the realm of cotton candy champagne / champagne toast, then check it out. But for me, it was just very redundant that I didn't need it. And the lid had this weird, like garlic butter fragrance to it that did not translate in the wax, but the lid itself was really whack and weird. I thought maybe like the Thanksgiving celebration lid or something got messed up with it, but not at all, because they're totally two different lids. But there was like a weird garlic buttery nastiness on that lid. I don't know if they're having lid issues again, but that blueberry and cotton candy was seriously whack. So, so I didn't need that. And then the maple candy one, I don't think is coming to stores, nor is the toasted coconut cookie or the pumpkin mint milkshake. So I think those might have either failed a test or they'll become online exclusives, but they are, I believe, not on the sheets for the in-store like sheets that they get for what's supposed to come in. I don't believe they're listed on there, and the stores have not been getting them in either. So that kind of blows, because those are like the 3 other new ones that I really wanted to smell. So pumpkin mint milkshake, I really wanted to smell and see if it was a repackage of the old pumpkin milkshake, which was a repackage of vanilla snowflake, but I won't know unless it's a online exclusive, and I can pick it up that way. Toasted coconut cookie, I was speculating might be toasted coconut s'more / toasted coconut eclair, but that one's not coming in stores and not on the sheet either, so maybe online exclusive. And the maple candy one, I'm not too bummed, because we have maple fragrance that's like up the butt, but that one I wouldn't mind smelling either. So the other 3 new ones are MIA, so I don't know. Verdict is out, or like on what will happen with those. I'm hoping online exclusives, but possibly could have failed. So apple macchiato and blueberry cotton candy are the 2 new ones there. And then moving on to this collection, I think this is the only new one in this one. It's autumn chai right here, and that's what that looks like. This one says cinnamon chai, French vanilla froth, and smooth caramel. This one has the rope-like wicks on it as well. This is very spicy, and it also doesn't really smell like a chai fragrance to me. There's a weird breadiness in here, and if you're on my Instagram live, you would have seen me like racking my brain, and I was like, wait, this is so similar to campfire donut. I don't understand. So this one doesn't have any cinnamon spice in it, but has a very bready, yeasty, like bready component to it that kind of carries through in this, and I don't quite understand why it's coming off that way. I'll have to burn this one, but it's kind of like campfire donut mixed with heavy red hot cinnamon is what this smells like. It doesn't totally remind me of a chai fragrance, but possibly. I think white pumpkin is much more of a traditional chai fragrance with like the ginger spices and everything in there. I think if you're looking for a real good chai fragrance, I think white pumpkin's closer to that. This is like red hot cinnamons with like a bakery fragrance that smells a whole lot like campfire donut, which I don't understand that. But also kind of similar like that cinnamon ginger snap fragrance that we had before as well. That like usual run-of-the-mill like bakery red hot cinnamon fragrance is kind of what this is giving me. Yeah, I'll have to burn this one and see how it does, but there's something weirdly like yeasty and bakery campfire donut about this one. But yes, it is not toasted vanilla chai from years past. That was an online exclusive, and I got it. It was very much unscented, so I returned it. But that one had like a more like a ginger fragrance mixed with like a marshmallow fireside marshmallow creaminess to it. It is not that. It's not iced almond chai from the test or the White Barn exclusive, whatever that was that one year. It is not that either. It's not the old school vanilla chai, which I think is still a superior chai fragrance. It is not that. And it's not that vanilla chai latte in that pink jar that was heavy, heavy, heavy on the coconut. There's no coconut in this, so it's not that either. So I don't believe it's any of the past chai fragrances, but super red hot cinnamon with like a bakery campfire donut fragrance undertone. So I don't know, kind of just weird. So autumn chai right there. And lastly, we have this collection, and the one I picked up was Old Fashioned Cider Donut, which is indeed a returning fragrance. This one is $24.50. It's Old Fashioned Cake Donut, baked apple, sprinkled with brown sugar cinnamon. Has a thick rope-like wicks with red wax on it. This one I think had like a tan wax last year that sooted like crazy, and it was good on the first few burns, but then like dudded out and got super plasticky, burnt, and nasty by the mid-range point that it really turned me off of the fragrance. That I was like, I wouldn't mind trying this again just to see if it does better this year, because while I was disappointed that it wasn't the old cider donut fragrance, it was still pleasant enough as like an apple bakery fragrance to burn for the fall time. So I was like, I'll see how this version does, just because the wax color on it is different, so maybe we'll get different burn performance on on it. But this is your, like, this year has a super strong emphasis on that apple fragrance. It's pretty much the same as last year's, but like a heavy Macintosh apple, Honeycrisp apple, like moldy apple fragrance, most certainly in here, mixed with like a sugared cinnamon donut fragrance chilling in the background. It's pretty straightforward and standard as like a cider donut fragrance. I think the Homeworks hot cider donut is definitely well more executed. This one's like the cheaper, flatter BBW variety of it, but still charming in the like endearing BBW type of way that we all enjoy their bakery fragrances. So yeah, so that's the old-fashioned cider donut right there. The other new one in that collection was the one new one in that collection was Hometown Sugar Cookies. I smelled that, didn't get it. Very, very, very similar to Cookies with Santa. I never owned Cookies with Santa, so I can't say with 100% confidence if it's the same because I haven't burned it, but very similar. If you'd like Cookies with Santa, has a similar like bready, like, you know, brown sugar and nutmeg, cinnamon type of usual run-of-the-mill cookie bready fragrance that Cookies with Santa gives you, very much like that. Different from Mary Cookie in the sense that that's more like buttery. Like Mary Cookie is almost so buttery that it almost smells cheesy. It's not like that. It's more like the dry, powdery Cookies with Santa variety type of cookie fragrance, which is also very similar to like pumpkin snickerdoodle and pumpkin cookie dough. And then we also have like sugared snickerdoodle. You know, there's just like so many sugar cookie fragrances. They're a dime a dozen at this point that I'm just like, it's just a generic run-of-the-mill sugar cookie fragrance, so I didn't need that. So I left that at the store, and I think that's it for all the newness that's coming out. Just kind of a bummer that the like award-winning collection doesn't seem to have the other 3 new ones, at least in stores. So let's hope that it's at least an online exclusive and not just failed completely. So that was it for candles, and then just 2 real quick body care fragrances. So the rewards app is wide now to all stores, so you are able to sign up for it using your zip code. Make sure whatever email you sign up for the app is the email you give in store, and then the tool will be linked, and that's how you get your rewards points with every transaction in store. The great thing about this now is that you can show your rewards app in store, scan it, and be able to redeem it right on the spot, whereas before you, with the app like finagling that a lot of us had to do, you would have to put a minimum order to be able to do a BOPIS order to get a rewards in store. And so you have to put like a minimum order of like a pocket bag, and so you would have so many of these $1.95 pocket bags just in your collection simply to redeem like a free reward or whatever. And because it was BOPIS, you would have to plan ahead, and you couldn't just go in store and scan it, and so you would have to like wait like maybe 2-3 hours for them to prepare the BOPIS order. So at least now you don't have to do that, so it's great. Like you can just scan the rewards app in the store and redeem your reward right on the spot, because every store now I believe does the rewards app, so that's great. It's also awesome is like if you do one transaction and all those points roll you over to another reward, then you can like literally turn right back around and go grab something and redeem that second reward right in store too, which is awesome. So you can just like keep redeeming rewards like in store. So I was like, okay, well let me get I guess 2 shower gels, because I really don't redeem them for anything else other than like hand soaps, but I'm set on hand soaps even though I'm set on shower gels as well. People were saying that this was maybe better than the candle or different, so I was like, okay, let me try it. Midnight Amber Glow, smooth amber, caramel latte, and vanilla bourbon. It literally smells just like the candle. Same vanilla nail polish fragrance with like a brown sugar caramel perfumey coffee note in the background. It's not terrible, but it's not my favorite, but I'll still use it just because it's like, I appreciate that it's different enough from everything else that's out there right now. So that's why I like it, but it's not my favorite fragrance by any means, but it smells literally just like the candle. So that was that right there. This one, on the other hand, is excellent. Autumn Drive right here. This is Wild Raspberry, Warm Amber, and Vanilla Birch, and that's what that looks like. This one's so juicy, so sugary sweet, and awesome. It's very much a apple and raspberry fragrance with like a sugary sweet, almost like cotton candy sweet vanilla mixed in with it. And then on the dry down, you get a little bit more of that like, what is it, the amber, like sort of dry down, a little bit more of a perfuminess comes through on the dry down. But when you use it in the shower, it's super sugary sweet. It reminds me of my beloved Honey Autumn Apple from many years past, but made even sugarier and more sweeter than that. So I actually really enjoyed Autumn Drive, and it was quite strong too, so was really enjoying that. I did smell the new Fall in Bloom fragrance in the manager I was talking to was saying how it smells a whole lot like Dahlia mixed with In the Stars, and literally smells like Dahlia mixed with In the Stars. You get the same like sort of like dry bitter petals of Dahlia and that like sort of like creamy fruit note that was in there, mixed with the peppery agar wood action of In the Stars, and like just literally merge the two together, and that's what Fall in Bloom smells like. So if you like Dahlia and In the Stars, there's that. They're just very redundant and duplicate with all their body care fragrances this like recent years, so that kind of blows, but that was what Fall in Bloom smelled like, if anybody cares. And I think that it's pretty much it. Thank you so much if you watched this entire video. I will try to start burning these and review them, just because I'm so intrigued by how these will perform when I go to burn them, and I'll try to do reviews on some of the really unique, interesting ones, and we'll go from there. Thanks so much, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.